Republican candidate is currently the Suffolk County Treasurer and was first elected to that position in 2005 and then re-elected in 2009. Prior to that, Angie served in the Suffolk County Legislature, where she was first elected in 1993 and then served as a Deputy Presiding Officer for 2 years. As Suffolk County Treasurer, Angie is charged with protecting the assets of the county and its nearly 1.5 million residents. Her office is also charged with collecting delinquency property taxes, the county hotel and motel tax, and bail, and while at the same time maintaining and protecting the records of nearly 600,000 property parcels in the county. Angie's son, Richie, is also with us here today, I believe. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Treasurer Angie Carpenter. By virtue of coin toss early this morning, which was captured by Newsday, Angie won the coin toss, and she has decided to allow Supervisor Bellone to go first with his opening statement. And we do actually have a timer. Tiffany from the LIA will be timing. There will be a bell, and I will hold you to it. So Supervisor Bellone with your opening statement.
Thank you very much, Kevin. I want to thank the Long Island Association for sponsoring today's debate, as well as the Association for a Better Long Island. All of the sponsoring organizations who are here today, and all of you who joined us. Particularly, I want to thank my opponent in this race, Angie Carpenter. Look forward to a lively exchange of ideas this morning and as we move forward throughout this campaign. One of the great parts of this campaign for me has been crisscrossing this county and talking to small business owners and business leaders about the challenges they face. People like you who are in the private sector and putting it on the line every day to help grow this economy. I will be a county executive for you. Someone who understands, someone who listens, and understands the challenges that you face. And we face many challenges as a region. We are not creating enough high-paying jobs. Young people continue to leave our region at record rates. Our costs are too high, and we don't have enough density, we do not have enough diversity in our housing stock to secure long-term economic sustainability. If you add in transportation issues and environmental issues, these major challenges are feeding off of one another and strengthening each other in a way that poses long-term systemic risk for our economy. This should not be happening in Suffolk County. I believe that we have all the tools and resources that we need right now to make Suffolk County a powerhouse economically. But we need somebody in the county executive's office who understands how to make government work. And if we're going to solve these problems, we first have to face up to them. And we have to acknowledge at the outset that the single biggest impediment to growing our economy has been and continues to be government. It is government here that has failed to create the conditions necessary to facilitate strong private sector economic growth. I have a record leading one of the largest governments in the state of New York for the past 10 years of making government both effective and efficient. We've kept taxes low, and in 2011, I delivered a $4.3 million tax cut despite tough economic times. I've cut the size of government, and I've reduced debt every year that I have been in office. And we're not doing less today. We're doing more than we ever have before. I will bring that record to Suffolk County.
Thank you, Steve. And now Treasurer Angie Carpenter.
Thank you very much. And likewise, I want to thank the LIA, ABLI, and it was really nice to hear that idea of you guys working together, because quite frankly, that's what we need to do. And I want to thank each and every one of you for showing that kind of interest in what happens in Suffolk County, even though we're in Nassau County, traveling here this morning at this hour to hear firsthand what the prospective county executive is all about. I am all about you. I am all about empowering what we have out here. We have all of the answers. You have them. I don't have them all, but you have them. And I am looking at putting together a team of people that come from the private sector, a team of people from within government. People that are working in government now do have some of the answers. They do have some of the clues on how we could do things better. But there's been an environment that doesn't encourage that kind of feedback. And that is something we have to change, and that is something I know I can change. We have it in my department, that sense of people working together as a team, trying to help one another solve the problems of the people, but you've got to create that kind of environment. I have a record of creating that kind of environment. That's the record that I will bring to my role as a county executive. We talk about taxes and holding the line on spending. We've done that in the county. We have pared it down. We are doing that more with less. But it comes to a time when we're doing less with less. We are compromising the safety of the public sometimes when we're not putting the appropriate amount of personnel in place. We are compromising the service that we're delivering to our residents, to our business community when they can't get permits processed in a timely fashion. We have the employees, we just have to make sure, just like when you're in the private sector, just like when you're running a business, just like when I ran a business before I got involved in government, you've got to make sure you've got your resources in the right place. We have the resources, and it's going to take someone who understands this county, who understands this government. I am that person. I have been a part of Suffolk County government for over 18 years. I know this county from Melville to Montauk. I understand what happens in the county. I understand that we have 4 health centers, that we have 7 police precincts, that we have the Fred's Commission that has got to be mobilized in an appropriate fashion when there's a disaster impending. I understand all of that because I have been there. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to actually start off and with Treasurer Carpenter, and more of an open-ended type question. And so Supervisor Bellone, feel free to rebut or just answer the same question. But it's an easy one. Front page, Newsday today, both Nassau County, Suffolk County, county executives proposed budget, talking about hundreds and hundreds of layoffs. Must we have layoffs? Are there other ways? You know, are there ways that we could be avoiding these layoffs? Because we know how troubling the economy is. Adding another 1,000 people or so to our region to the unemployment lines doesn't sound like a good cure for those challenges.
Well, it certainly doesn't sound like a recipe for success. And success is what we really need to have here in Suffolk County and on Long Island. And clearly, as Kevin said earlier about the ABLI and LIA working together and how we have to work together. We have to work together as a county, but we also need to work together as a region. And I've started steps in that direction already. I've met with the county executive from Nassau County. I've met with the county executive from Westchester County. And I think if we as a downstate region work together, if we join forces, it's no secret that what we send to Albany, we don't get our fair share back. And certainly I'm not blaming our Long Island delegation that works very, very hard for us. But if we as a region, the people who are in a place of leadership, if legislators, if the healthcare community, if everyone comes together to lobby and we stand strong, the old united we stand, divided we fall. If we join forces, it's going to be harder for them to break us apart. So we need to get our fair share. We need to get our state aid. We need to make sure that we're doing what is right to get our fair share of state aid. And quite frankly, if we don't have the people in positions that are processing the paperwork in a timely fashion, just like in your business, if you're not sending out those invoices, you're not going to have that accounts receivable coming in. And I've seen letters coming that say that we're not processing things in a timely fashion. So again, eliminating employees is not necessarily a recipe for making things work for this county.
Thank you. Supervisor Bellone, reaction to County Executive Levy's proposed 2012 budget. Supervisor Bellone, your reaction to either Treasurer Carpenter's comments and or reaction to County Executive Levy's proposed 2012 budget with layoffs.
I've disagreed with the county executive on a number of issues and a number of ways that he's approached things, but in this budget he's proposing to freeze once again, and he has talked about repeatedly how he has frozen the general fund property tax. I agree with him on that. We are not going to solve our fiscal problems in this county by raising the general fund property tax. This is a county that is reliant on the sales tax. So the only way that we are going to solve our fiscal problems in this county is by growing our economy. We only collect $49 million as a county from the general fund property tax, but more than $800 million in sales tax revenue. So we need to get this economy moving, and that is why my focus has been on that issue. I released an economic development plan more than a month ago that details how we're going to do that. Nobody thinks layoffs is a good idea. I'm the only candidate in this race who actually has experience as an executive reducing the size of government. I've done that, but I've done it in a cooperative fashion. I've done it by managing government, by working agency by agency and department by department, figuring out how we can get more efficient and leaner, but in a way that still allows us to deliver those essential services even better than we have before. We've done that in Babylon. This approach, again, the confrontational approach that we've seen over the last number of years in this administration, I think is unhealthy for government, and at a time when our economy is in the way it is, layoffs is not the best approach. I would look for other alternatives.
Thank you, Supervisor Bellone. Next question will come from our panel, our co-host, the ABLI, and their board member, Mark Hamer.
Thank you, Kevin. Steve, how does Suffolk County influence regional growth when towns and villages control land use? And how can Suffolk County facilitate businesses to spur job growth?
The first thing that the county executive has to realize is that they are not a town supervisor. That has been somewhat of a challenge in the last 8 years. Towns control zoning and planning. Villages control zoning and planning. And when a county executive understands that and accepts that, they're in a much better position to move things forward and put forward initiatives that will actually help to move projects in towns. I have, as town supervisor in 10 years, great experience in actually making economic development happen and actually pushing projects forward. So that experience as a town supervisor, I think, will be very helpful in fashioning the incentives necessary to help towns move us forward. Because look, we have more units, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know here. We have more units of local government here in New York than anywhere except perhaps California. And when you're operating in that kind of environment, you have to be working to pull governments together and to work across government lines, across state, federal, and local levels. So I will put in incentives working with towns and villages to do great planning. We will back that up by providing infrastructure dollars to help implement great plans. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought that was the bell. That was close, it sounded like the bell.
That was a question from the audience, and I should have followed my own rule.
But I think that is important that you understand that the towns control zoning and planning and that you work with them to move projects forward. But we will only provide those incentives on issues that, or projects that are moving forward from towns that help us advance the major regional challenges that we face. And by the way, I will also come in as county executive and refocus the planning department. The county planning department should not be acting like a town zoning board or a town planning board. The county is in no better position to judge whether a project should move forward than the towns. The